Good morning. My name is Erin Gall, and I'm the chair of the Small Business Committee. And I'm very excited to be here this morning to welcome and honor Cheryl Braswell with the Small Business of the Month Award for January for the Rocky Mount Chamber of Commerce and Statewide Insurers. We're here at 880 Country Club Road. I've known Cheryl from his previous life when he was with Edward Jones, but we're excited now that since June of 2016, you have opened up Statewide Insurers Group. Just a little bit, a year after that, you opened up a second office in Roanoke Rapids, and then I hear that last year you're officially in the western part of the state, Pickering. So that's a lot of growth, which shows why you've earned this award today. We're very excited to have someone that's been a longstanding member of the community go out on his own and be so successful. We've got over 30 agents across the state. Their niche is in firefighters and Medicare, but they offer full lines of commercial and personal insurance. So congratulations. We look forward to see what you're going to do in the future. And here's David Ferris for a few comments.
Thank you, Erin. And I'd like to echo Erin's comments. We're really proud of all you've accomplished, and it seems like just maybe a little over a year ago we were here, and we had an enormous crowd then, and you got a wonderful turnout today. And I think it just shows the appreciation that the Rocky Mountain area, along with Chamber of Commerce, has with you and your staff, and the fact that you've added 2 additional agencies is just incredible. And we appreciate what you're doing, not only for the health of communities with providing insurance coverage, but also your involvement in communities and your growth and your giving back, and we appreciate that. And again, I offer my congratulations on behalf of the staff of the Rocky Mountain Area Chamber, as well as our board of directors and our over 650 members. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First, I have to thank the community, because I don't do this by myself. You know, we would be nowhere near where we are if it was just me. I have been blessed truly for the people who have come to us to come to work with us. Our office staff, the people we have out in the field, it has been a very interesting journey how they came to us, and they all have, you know, the skills that we needed at that time to make this happen. So, you know, I believe in divine intervention. If we haven't had it, nobody's ever had it. I'm telling you that right now. We've been very, very blessed with the way things have gone here. And I thank y'all so much for being here today to support us in doing all this. We just look forward to the future. We're having a lot of growth. Things are working well, and we look forward to continuing moving upward and onward. Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cheryl, we are very proud of you for winning the award from the Chamber of Small Business of the Month.
Thank you.
I have known you for a long time. Mm-hmm. Wow. And I remember you were in the financial services business at one point, and then you started this. And when you started, and I think people really, this to me is so admirable, you went out on your own. It was you and one employee, right?
Correct.
And just like in any entrepreneur situation, and I remember clearly when I took over Almonds, some things you do exactly right, and sometimes you have to say, oops, I'm going to fix that and learn better and whatnot. Yeah. So you have really worked hard to learn what you needed to and what works best in this community. And so 2016, you started this particular Statewide Insurers Group, LLC.
And what, my financial services clients were asking about, can you help me with my life insurance, my homeowner's insurance,
Medicare,
my Medicare work. So I started gradually developing, those things to bring in. And in the early part of 16, I ran into a guy I went to high school with, and we literally had not spoken in 12 years. He was in the insurance industry, and we had talked at one time about forming a little merger, and just at the time, it just wasn't the right time. Wasn't the right time. And we ran into each other a second time, and I looked at him, I said, we need to sit down and talk. And he says, yeah, we do, because he says things have changed since you and I, talked years ago. And his background was working with fire departments. And so that gave us a large number of people, to go talk to. And he had a much bigger background in health insurance and Medicare than I did. And he had a couple guys working with him that had even more experience in Medicare. So that helped us, kind of kickstart really getting into that industry.
And that's become much more complicated. And of course, with the rising number of baby boomers hitting the age where they need it, huge gap that wasn't being filled. I know when I worked with almonds, I would be standing out in front of the pharmacy explaining to people the difference between Advantage and supplement and what could happen in their window when they could get it without pre-existing conditions. And nobody knew that.
No.
Nobody.
No.
Big opportunity.
It is. And it's just one of those things, it's a huge opportunity and it's work. You really, you have to learn. You have to learn. And, fortunately, unfortunately, however you look at it, you don't get to stop learning. You have to continue because it changes. I mean, every year, inevitably in August, we get a list from every company. This is going to be different.
Each company is different, probably.
Everybody has a little something different. And then, of course, Medicare, Medicaid services will send out a memo of this was going to change this year. Deductibles change. Somebody asked me what a deductible for Part B was the other day. I looked at him and said, let me just pull that up because it's changed.
Every year.
It changes all the time. So,
and with your financial background, that's probably been really helpful too, because I've known you, and you are always, for a long time, you were always very sensitive to cost.
Yes.
And trying to put people in the best deal for the money. Never wanting to not get what they need if you spend a little bit more, because in the long run it'll save them money. But I want to talk about the fire, because I think what you and Joey have done to help firefighters across the state, not only has it been good business for you, but it's so much the right thing and the honorable thing to do for our firefighters. It
is a very rewarding thing to do, and because they are fantastic at what they do.
They risk their lives for us.
Lord bless them, because they save people's lives every day.
You got a witness.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
But, that's their business.
Yeah.
Their insurance needs, their health insurance needs, their, retirement needs. That is not what they do. And if you're asking somebody who, works at wherever it is, at John's Pizzeria, what you doing for retirement, I don't know. I think I have a little bit more experience and can bring you some much better knowledge about what to do there. And those guys are so involved in what they do because they have a tremendous amount of, if you want to call it continuing education, training that they have to go through. And they don't have the time that they would like to have to study what they are doing for themselves. And so that has been a great place for us to be, and we have developed those relationships. We have business literally all the way across the state with different fire departments, everything from out in Murphy, literally to Manio, different
But you took people who were hugely underinsured and their families weren't protected if something happened to them, and they weren't protected, sufficiently for disability and whatnot. And wrap them with very financially able to handle figures, plans now that their families have much more security, don't they?
Yes, ma'am. Because there's so many factors. I mean, you know this from your own situation through the years. There's so many intertwined things you have to take care of or be aware of in doing your financial planning. Just taking care of day-to-day life. If the breadwinner drops off the radar, we got to have a plan backup plan.
And a lot of the firefighters are young men with
Yes.
young families with,
Yes.
and wives that might work, but they're not the breadwinners potentially. And so to enable them and what you pitch to them are options. And basically almost every fire department in the state of North Carolina now is your client. Is that correct?
We have a certain set of benefits that are provided to every single department in the state, and we're a preferred vendor for that program all the way across the state. So that gives us a great great way to get in. And once we are there, because these guys are very protective, and ladies who work in the service, they're very protective of their tribe, and they have realized, as we have gone into departments and started working and doing different services for them, that they realize we are looking out for them, and that's helped.
That trust factor is
yes, huge. In the last 2 years, it just has really gained momentum. And every time it's, you work with Chief so-and-so, and he told me to call you.
Yeah.
And that's, that's how it's worked.
Those personal referrals are
that's
huge.
how it's worked.
And it's my understanding, and because I was somewhat involved through our good buddy Ricky Barks and whatnot, that now you're trying to avail that same type of benefits and support for people in law enforcement.
Yes. It is incredible to understand what happens if a police officer is killed in the line of duty. There's not a whole lot of benefit there.
No.
There's nowhere near what needs to be done to take care of a family. And so, we've started talking with the different groups of professional law enforcement officers here in the state. And you mentioned Ricky. He's been a huge help because he just seems to know all those
everybody.
folks. He knows all those folks. And we've, been at the table a couple of times just sort of gathering information, and we're going back and talking to the different groups because they have, kind of unique situations with the different groups. And so, we'll be able to form a plan that'll work for them. We're able to customize, what would work for them.
Well, and I think anybody watching would think, gosh, we need law enforcement people to feel supported and feel like their families could be taken care of, because it is a risky business, and we need people to want to continue going in to that profession. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to meet two of your employees, and Cherie in particular is going to really talk about the Medicare aspect and how important that is to your customer base. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Cheryl, we all know that you look good because of the people who work with you. Is that correct?
Amen. Absolutely. No question.
You choose wisely. I have met through Rocky Mountain Business Builders Cherie for a while, and just tons of personality. And now we have Myrtle Sanders. Myrtle,
That's
welcome.
Right. Thank you.
Where do you work? What part in the operation do you work in?
I'm the CSR.
And what does that mean?
That means that I do data entry, and I also provide services for our clients.
Okay. And what was your background? Cheryl, you want to tell me a little bit
Yes. When I met Myrtle and she started just talking about the things she had done, I kept going, oh, yeah, this is getting better and better. She had originally, I think Myrtle was with the hospital over in Tarboro.
That's right.
And she handled the insurance processing for the oncology
I did oncology, and then I left there and I went to the scheduling department in the hospital, and that's where I got my experience with handling insurance.
Which is invaluable to us because this is just a different animal. Even the data entry and everything is so different from what you would encounter, I think, in what I would say a traditional office setting. So that's a great help to us because we just have so many regulations we have to abide by, especially with client information and things like that. It's nice to have somebody who has an understanding of what that means.
So your book of business and background coming here has really been helpful.
It has, and not only did I leave the hospital, but I also have a background in banking. So, and I'm just thankful that I get opportunity to use it and help this
Yes.
business grow.
It's a fun place to work too, isn't it?
It is. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Good people. Good
Yeah.
people.
And now we have Cherie Hogue. Good to see you.
Thank you.
How long have you been here, Cherie?
I relocated from Pennsylvania in 2015.
And have you been working here ever since?
I came on as a temporary and just the data entry, the position Myrtle had, and I fell in love with the insurance side. I had done insurance in Pennsylvania, but just solely on the Medicare side. So then I decided to dive into all aspects of the insurance. But Medicare is still my passion. I love to talk to people about the benefits of Medicare Advantages versus supplements. I just love the whole aspect of helping people through Medicare.
And Cheryl, that's an area there's great need, isn't there?
Yes, ma'am. We have a huge population base that's transferring to Medicare over the next 10, 20 years. And it's, of course, I've been doing it for a while, so I'm comfortable with it. But the individual coming in for the first time that's going to be turning 65 in, 6 months or 2 weeks is terrified about making the right decision and understanding, what the alternatives are.
Because it matters. I mean, you've got windows for this and windows for that, and if people make the wrong decision, they can have to live with something they don't want to live with.
Right. It does. It is important. It is an incredibly personal decision, because everything that you have is kind of involved in that decision. I mean, like your health is a big factor, and we have that frank conversation with people about, just tell me kind of what your situation is, and we'll talk about what might work, And Cherie has been wonderful. She loves working with folks with the Medicare realm. I mean, it's wonderful to have somebody like that, because it's a tough business. I mean, it's a tough thing for people to understand, and she makes it smooth, very simple for folks.
And I'm convinced that if people haven't studied it and really looked at it in great detail, it's impossible to make good decisions.
It is. I mean, there's so many things, and like Cheryl said, it's a very personal thing. So that's why it's important to do a one-on-one and, give us your life history, your goals, and so on, so we can help you move forward without a lot of complications.
Do you find that people bring like a child with them, an adult child with them sometimes, so they can have somebody else to bounce it off of?
They do. And that's fine. I mean, because then you're also educating them, because they will hopefully someday get that age also. So, yes, I think that's very important to have it a family decision, and a decision between husband and wife, or, family members. I think it's important to have everyone involved that, is in part of your life and your future.
And there are family discounts if two people choose the same supplement plan.
Yes,
too.
ma'am.
True.
There is.
How much training do you have to engage in to stay current?
Well, you have a year of testing, and there's constantly continuing education, probably on a monthly basis. We get new letters, we get things from the government that we have to read and study, and make sure that we're compliant to all the things moving forward. And that's probably monthly, because things are changing constantly.
That's true. I mean, there's something, and it's crunch time at the end of the year, because I know, you're familiar with it, Gene. At the end of the year, everybody sees the commercials coming up for, you can make changes now. And from roughly mid-October to mid-December, that's the prime time. You have to make a lot of decisions only during that period of time. And so it gets insane here. We have to have a little meeting at the beginning of that period and say, okay, when I come in screaming at you, don't take it personally.
He doesn't scream very loudly.
No.
But it's the continuing education it's increased dramatically since I've been in the business, made a lot of things. Every single company has their own little class, if you will, continuing education they want you to take for their particular products, as well as the ongoing CE that we have to do every year. So yeah, it's involved.
And Cherie, I think also when people get a letter that they don't understand even after the fact, to know that you all have their backs and they can call and say, I got something in the mail and it's accusing me of something, or it's saying I did something or didn't do something. Can you help me understand it? That's important too.
Yes, ma'am. And prior education, I mean, like you said, October to December is the time where everybody hears the commercials. But you can work on this all year long. You don't have to just make your changes and select certain products all year long. So that's why we're not like the tax offices that are only open during tax season. This office is open all year long, 5 days a week. And we also do appointments on the weekends if necessary to have people come in when it's convenient for them so we can talk to them and do this one-on-one.
And there's no charge for that, right?
No charge at all.
I have known you for a while through Rocky Mountain Business Builders. You were always pleasant.
Thank
you
you.
were always kind. I just think you would be a
Thank you.
wonderful person for people to come in and talk to. And
Well, I treat each person as if it was my mother, my grandparents walking in this door because I would want to be treated that way and save them money. There are people that are living from payday to payday, and we can find them ways to save them money. You know, here again, a story this year, I had a family, they were paying $600 in their supplements. They were living from payday to payday. We got them on a different plan, so now they're able to live life. So,
great. Well, thank you.
you're welcome.
Good hire.
Yes, absolutely.
Cheryl, what would you, and I'm going to throw you kind of a curveball here, what type of money do you think making good decisions versus just winging it on their own have you maybe seen that people have been able to save?
The biggest savings that I have seen personally is helping people get the correct drug plan.
Cheryl, we met several of your employees, but I know you well enough to know that Jane, your lovely wife, has been a rock for you through the years.
Absolutely. Yes.
And she supports you in
Yep.
opening a new business and changing careers and doing all kinds of stuff. So Jane, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you're here. And you have a long career in teaching.
I do.
right?
I do. I retired with 32 years and from the state of North Carolina, and I taught in Georgia a little bit, and I half counseling, elementary school, and then half in the classroom. So children's my first love, but I find I do other things also.
Well, and you're taking care of your parents somewhat now too. And so speaking of what we just talked to Cherie about, Medicare, you're seeing how important it is to make good Medicare decisions too
Oh
with
my
them.
gosh, my mom was in the hospital a night and 2 days, and the bill was, I think, $5,000 or $7,000, and she only had to pay $29.18. So I said, praise God and praise all these companies that she has.
Yeah, and the good wisdom you got from
Yes.
Cherie and
Yes.
Cheryl to know, because people just do things and they don't know that there are better options. And without coming and talking to you all, we want to talk about one of the things for winning Small Business of the Month is that we acknowledge people who give back to the community, because a big part of our small businesses is we want them not only to earn their living from the community, but invest back in the community. And I know, Cheryl, a lot of what y'all have done is faith-based.
Yes.
Talk about some of the organizations that you all have supported.
Jane has done a lot of work in the Boys and Girls Club, especially over in Nashville, in the national operations. And I mean, there's a need
Yeah,
for certain. And she's done a great job with
and
that.
with your love of working with young people.
Yeah, I did a story activity time that for a year or so, and a part of that, they support faith-based, and so I would say a prayer, and then I would get the children to say a prayer. And then our church has done Bible school there, and I've helped with that for several years because it's such a wonderful opportunity for the children to get some individualized, small group, fun stuff to do without expense for the Boys and Girls Club. And we support, the church supports Boys and Girls Club through paper products and paper plates and all kinds of things like that, so they don't have to spend their money purchasing that kind of thing. And I've also done Compassion Cafe in Nashville, which is a daily lunch provision for anybody that wants to come. And the church is in this
Is it
area.
year-round?
It is year-round, and it's not on holidays, not Christmas, not Thanksgiving, but it's started in 2008 through two friends of ours, Vision, and but local churches have supported it all these years and still support it. It's a fantastic, wonderful provision for the community.
I noticed that, well, with networking too, and giving back and mentoring, Cheryl, you've been a member, you were one of the founding members of Rocky Mountain Business Builders.
Yes.
Our local group with you and Clint started, and you do mentor and work with other people and meet with other people in that group and refer business to them too.
And that, it's been, I've gotten back, I know, 10 times what I put into it.
I don't know, you put a lot into it. I mean, but we all help each other.
Yes, I mean, it is a wonderful mix of different businesses, which is what you need. Last week I sat down with Caroline. She's opening up a new office here, legal firm, and just really got to understand what she is going to focus on, what she's doing. And in our conversation, we realized there's a lot of crosswork that we'll be able to do, and it's just the great relationships that I have formed with you and so everybody in the group, because I make a point, Clint preaches about meet the people that are in the group and talk to them and learn them, and I have really tried to sit down with everybody in that room. Just tell me what you do.
Well, and we're all about keeping business local, helping local people. One last thing, you do also a lot for senior centers and seniors in the community.
Yes, ma'am. And Cherie spearheads that for us, truly. We work with 3 or 4 different senior housing developments in the area, doing just what I call fun activities, as well as we support them with supplies and things to the folks there. And we also we do the food bank of Albemarle, which is like 14 locations in the northeastern part of the state, and we do a lot with them. And that's been an interesting group of folks to meet and work with. They've been good to us. And it's
well,
been a
and
great.
Cheryl, y'all have been good to us, and congratulations on your honor, Statewide Insurers Group, and you're at the corner of Hunter Hill and Country Club. And again, Cherie, especially, we want to say there's no cost to come in and let her help you make the best decisions.
Yes, she's wonderful at that. Absolutely.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us.